Good morning, free thinkers. Just a few thoughts for you today, and I was kind of putting these thoughts together. This past weekend was my college homecoming, which I did not go. I wasn't feeling well. It's a 4-day event every year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And a buddy from college, we're talking from 35, 40 years ago, texted me and said, "Hey man, I'm on my way up from Virginia Beach. Can you want to meet? Let's hang out, like whatever." And I wasn't feeling well that day, so I decided, I'm not going to go. But this was my first homecoming after the death of my buddy Craig. And it hasn't been a year yet. Now keep in mind, I've had a lot of friends die. When you get to be a certain age, you have friends that pass away suddenly or, from illnesses and so forth, cancer and whatever. But I never had a friend take their life. I never had a friend kill themselves. And that makes the conversation different when you talk about that person. So I was sharing with someone today how weird it would have been to go to homecoming and just hang out, with my hands in my pockets, because usually Craig and I were just cracking up. We've been doing this since we were, 20 years old. And just hanging out with the old gang and all that. So what do you say? Wow, what a shame. Yeah. Or there are people that don't know that he took his life. I know that for a fact. And we don't talk about death. We don't talk about those things in our culture. And I think we should. This is why I say you need to encapsulate the story so you don't sink into a somber depression or a dark state of being every time you talk about death, or if you like to talk about the death of a loved one. It could be a mom, a dad, a grandparent, a brother, a sister, a friend. But talking about a friend that took their life is different than talking about anything else. The death of someone else. Like the first holiday without a parent, a spouse, a grandparent, shopping, Christmas shopping, holiday shopping for everybody, but you don't have to buy for them anymore because they're gone. That's different. And what I didn't want to do was, I didn't want to be a bummer to anybody, if that makes any sense. So not as many people hung out with Craig and I hung out, in college and after college as adult men. And he only hung out, he only knew after college, only hung out with a few people on occasion or saw them at homecoming or something. So he wouldn't have been the topic of conversation for anybody. And I know if I went, it would feel weird to not have him there, because usually he was there. And he was loved by everybody. But to have no one talk about it and act as if he's not there, it's like the 600-pound elephant. Well, there's no such thing as a 600-pound. What's the phrase? 800-pound gorilla? The elephant in the room? Right? I'm getting the two phrases mixed up. Here's the odd thing, is that you need to learn to encapsulate and create a story in your head. And until you can encapsulate the story, you'll always be dealing with it. The language that you use to describe scenarios is so important, and that you nail it down. If you don't, you will always be dealing with it. It'll always be a sad spot. It'll always be a sore spot. Does that make sense to you? And if you have any experience with that, for other watchers who are going to watch this video, If you have anything to add to this conversation, let's make it a dialogue. Let's make it a conversation. If you have anything else to add to this that will help someone who lost somebody, they're not dealing with it properly, as if there is a proper way to deal with someone's death. What can you contribute to the conversation about that? Put your answer down below. I believe that all of the comments below this video can be a lesson for someone who feels a little bit stuck. I articulated as much as I possibly could to start the discussion, but to show you how I deal with it. How do you deal with it? How have you dealt with it? I welcome your reply and your comments. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm